Iran's parliament has approved a bill to suspend all UN inspections of its nuclear facilities. It's a show of defiance after the killing of the country's top nuclear scientist last week. Tehran claims Israel used a remote-controlled gun to kill him. The Jewish state has repeatedly declined to comment on the attack. For more, let's bring in Behnam Ben Taleblu. He is a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Behnam, welcome. Great to see you again. I want to first talk about that vote suspending all UN inspections of Iran's nuclear facilities. How should the U.S. read into this move by Tehran?
Well, great to be back with you, Tanya. I think it's another quest by hardliners in Iran's parliament, also known as the Majlis, to engage in an attempt to get some leverage over the U.S. and international partners as it relates to the nuclear issue. How they do this is by basically creating more nuclear facts on the ground. In that controversial bill, which was amended and then ultimately went to the Guardian Council for approval, there's things that talk about more uranium enrichment, more of a stockpile, kicking out UN inspectors and ceasing adherence to this verification mechanism called the Additional Protocol. It's designed to force the Rouhani government's hand, but also, more importantly, as we mentioned earlier, to create leverage against any continued pressure under a late Trump or early potential Biden administration.
And so, to that point, pivoting back to the assassination, the New York Times' David Sanger recently wrote he believes that this brazen killing may have actually been designed to limit President-elect Biden's options with Iran when he becomes president. So, Behnam, the president-elect has vowed to re-enter the Iran nuclear deal when he takes office, and this is something, of course, that Israel vehemently opposes. How do you foresee a President Biden navigating this latest tension while trying to revive that nuclear agreement?
Well, I think it would be a mistake to directly re-enter that nuclear deal because the Middle East of 2020 and the Iranian nuclear program of 2020 is not at all the Iranian nuclear program nor the Middle East of 2015, 2016, when the deal was agreed to and then began to be enforced. So there are significant changes U.S. policy is going to have to account for here. Moreover, to the Sanger piece, as well as a slew of other articles kind of making this about America and a direct impediment to a change in U.S. policy in 2021, I think it would be a mistake to make this about us. If it is true that a foreign intelligence service carried out this operation, one has to ask question of timing. And this is where the Occam's razor approach, really the simplest, could be the easiest and most clear explanation, matters, which is if it's a foreign intelligence service and this individual, Fakhrizadeh, was under surveillance, perhaps a slight change in his routine or a change in his pattern or a change in the way intelligence was collected and processed led to the timing. So that, too, could be a most likely scenario as to why he was killed this late November.
And Behnam, Iran has vowed to avenge the killing of its top nuclear scientist. What type of retaliation should we realistically expect from Tehran?
Well, there's been a lot of tough talk out of Tehran. Tehran has had previous nuclear scientists killed in 2011, 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when Iran promised to meet threats with threats. That was what Iran's supreme leader said back then. And there was a slew of attempted terror attacks against Israeli citizens, civilians, diplomats and interests, some successful, some unsuccessful, in places as diverse as Thailand, Georgia, India, and then, of course, Bulgaria, which Iran relied on Lebanese Hezbollah to help carry out. That could, again, be Iran's most likely path here. But lest we forget, there is tough talk in Tehran about doing something akin to how they responded to Soleimani, which is an overt missile barrage. And a hardline Iranian newspaper even mentioning targeting Haifa, Israel's third largest city and a model for coexistence between Arabs and Jews in that part of the world.
Behnam Ben Taleblu, thank you so much for your analysis and your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.